we're just commenting on some medical misconceptions and things like that.
Well, like recently, we went through a pandemic, and I'm a little unsure if I'm allowed to say the word on YouTube, so I'm not going to, but we all know what we're talking about. And there was a lot of hesitancy and misconceptions when it came to vaccines. So where most of us, both of us, are fully vaccinated, not only against what was going on in the pandemic, but for other things. We got vaccinations when we were kids.
Right.
Just always going to be conspiracies about them. I don't know. I get where when people don't understand things that they get frustrated, and maybe part to blame is how science works, how one day they can say one thing and then the next day they can say something else.
Yeah.
That's part of the process of learning and gaining a better understanding of what our environment is and what we are. But it feels like they latch on to anything that somebody says that's negative and generally do very little research, but a lot of people I catch spreading these. And I feel like even a lot of my friends, I've had to correct them 3 or 4 times when they say things like, well, a conspiracy that was running around for a while was that, what was it, the MMR vaccine caused autism. And if you look at the history of that, it was one doctor who said that, who is not even a doctor anymore.
Yeah, he lost his license and everything.
Right, because when he published the paper, the other part of the medical community had to clean up his mess.
Yeah.
And they did study after study and showed test after test and showed where there is no evidence of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing. And maybe I said this at the beginning. I don't really remember. But when you ask like a scientist or a doctor, is this 100% safe? They will say probably, we don't have any evidence that it's not safe.
Right.
And people are like, well, why can't you just say it's safe? But the deal is that's not how they work. It's like saying, like if you've ever read anything from an attorney and they write it in legalese, it's because they're trained to know how to either not make it vague or make it vague or close all the loopholes or whatever. You know, scientists and doctors in the science community, they don't want to say 100% because they know how science works. There could be new information that disproves or gives us a better understanding of something. And then at that point, they're going to want to have the ability to move on. So they're just waiting to find any type of evidence that contradicts what they're saying or maybe even supports what they're saying. But when you ask them, you know, is it safe? And they say there's no evidence, it means that there's no evidence. That's how they talk.
Right. Yeah. No evidence to support like that it not being safe. But yeah, it makes sense.
And saying an absolute like it's 100% safe, that's reckless.
Yeah. Because there's, you know, nothing is 100% safe these days. You know.
Well, and who's to know that 100 years down the road we won't figure out something new?
Yeah.